Hey guys, thanks for tuning in to another episode of Dirt Time Adventures. And I know it's been a little while since we've been out shooting some film. We've been real busy starting up a new survival school. Been spending most of our days actually doing a lot of marketing and then preparing the property. I know it's not something that's discussed a lot in the survival community, but hopefully as we begin to see some progression on the property, I can send you some updates and show you some of the ideas that we have for developing a survival camp. And so stay tuned for that in the coming future. But today we want to take a second and do a little hammock setup and show you some simple setups that we use and implement. And they're pretty common for everybody, but maybe you're out there and you're in the survival community and you've been thinking about maybe trying out this hammock type camping or hammock survival situation, because it is so mobile and so portable and easy to construct and build. And so we wanted to give you guys some insight into how we set up our hammocks, and there's a million and one ways to do it, but we're going to show you one of the simplest and the most common. So stick with us and we'll show you our hammock setup. Say hammock life. Alright, so one of the first things you need to consider when choosing a hammock site is to find a proportionate space between your trees. And out here at this new location, it's kind of out in the country, but yet there's still roads that go by, so I got to compete with noise and background noise and lawnmowers still and tractors and stuff. But our actual training property that I teach at is way out in the middle of nowhere, so that's a great thing about that, but it takes a lot of time to get out there. So I'm hoping to convert this wooded space into a personal training environment, a personal space, just to be able to get out in the woods when I'm not out teaching courses. But so I need to find some trees that are fairly decent size apart. And for me, I'm a 6-foot guy, so I need trees that are about 8 feet to 10 feet apart, preferably. Unfortunately, this is a young growth forest here, so there's nothing that's really just completely sturdy that's going to be that distance. So what I'm going to have to do is try to make some trees that are fairly close together work. And so instead of more of a flat sleeping environment, I'm probably going to have more of a chair type hammock setup. But I can still show you the rope configuration for this if you're not using straps. So what I've done here with my rope is, this is the standard rope that came with the hammock, and there's all kinds of ways you guys can do this, but this is the quickest way, easiest way for me, where you don't have hammock straps. Now I highly recommend hammock straps if you have them, but they can be very pricey. And if for you who are considering getting into hammock setups for beginners, someone who's just getting into it, then this is the way to go, because you don't have to think about any fancy straps, you don't have to think about any fancy knots, nothing. I mean, it's very simple setup for anybody to get into hammock camping, or hammock shelter systems, I should say, because you may be doing more than camping. So I just got my knots about 3 fists apart, using some natural body mechanics to measure out our space here, and so just create 3 fistfuls, and then in that point there, now you're just going to do an overhand knot. and pull tight. And then again, 3 handfuls, overhand knot. And so after you've folded it over, you have your loop, and then you just go down the string doing that every 2.5 to 3 fists. And so that's how you have it. And now it's multi-adjustable. And I'm not using anything fancy. My son's got a Grand Trunks hammock that he just hung up, and show you a little bit of footage of that. And I'm just using a basic simple $35, $40 hammock that you can get at any of your local stores, camping stores, Walmarts, wherever. So, all right, let me show you how this is hung now. Okay. Now, depending on the distance between your trees, this method may not always work, or you may have to relocate and find different trees. But for me, I reach as high as I can get on the tree. And if your tree is super wide too, this may not work either for this type of system. But this is a great system now. I'm going to loop one end of my hammock here. And if this tree, like I said, was skinnier, I could implement some of the other loops. Or if I need one right here to go a little higher, then I just simply put in another overhand loop. So, get my hammock on there, and now we go to the other side. Hammock is set up, ready to climb into. But for me, if I wanted to make this more of just a lounging, for those of you just getting into it and wanting to lounge, that's great. But many people are looking for some other shelter options, and that's kind of what I want to show now. Is you could use a bug net combo, or you could do a tarp. Alright, so I have the Blue Stone ultralight tarp, and it's pretty much a parachute tarp made out of ripstop material, and it comes with ropes and the stakes, and it's got good grommeting points for tie outs. I encourage you to use some toggles so you don't rip those out. Put the pressure on the toggles, not your grommets. And now all you'd have to do is to run a ridge line across my hammock, and now I have a canopy top to keep me dry. And you can do this in a diamond formation, or you can do it in a straight up rectangular. And so those are some things to consider. Now I have an ultralight tarp, and this one here I believe is like a 10 by 12. It's pretty large, more than I probably need for this, but 10 by 12 I believe is what it is. It may be something smaller or bigger, but it's in that spectrum for dimensions. And it really doesn't cost a lot of money to get into the outdoors and hang a hammock. So I guess what we're going to do is going to wrap up this video. Probably talked a lot more than I should have, but I wanted to show you my simple basic hammock setup with the loop and the knot. This is something I learned a long time ago and hanging up an old net hammock, and I've seen that a lot of hammock companies now actually come with instructions on how to do that. But I want to demonstrate it for myself and to show you what my setup is: a basic hammock and an ultralight ripstop tarp for my top. So anyways, guys, hope you are enjoying your summer and not sweating to death like I am, and I look forward to showing you some further adventures in the outdoors with my hammock setup. One other final note is, as you get into hammock camping or shelters, remember, as you try to sleep, you want to get it as flat as possible, but not too flat. I like a little sag in mine as I string it up, and then as you sleep in it, you actually sleep at an angle. So I kick my feet off at that other angle down there, and then I just simply kick my feet off, and now when you sleep at an angle, it allows you to lay flatter, and you can actually get a good night's sleep. And I'm a side sleeper, So probably driving you guys nuts right now, rocking back and forth, huh? But I'm a side sleeper, but it still works just the same. You just turn on your side, kick your feet out the other end, and lay on your side. And sometimes I let my feet hang off to give me a little bit more longevity, but it really is a comfortable way to sleep. Now, I usually hang mine probably a little bit lower than I hung this one, so I can grab the ground if I need to keep from rocking. Because as I get older, I get motion sickness. But it's not bad. Now, if I had my canopy on top, I'd have the shade from the sun and could take my afternoon nap in the dead heat of summer. I think it's like 90 degrees, which isn't bad actually compared to the last week. So, anyways, guys, thanks for tuning in to another episode of Dirt Time Adventures. Hope you guys remember to, as always, keep it practical, primitive, and prepared.